Hello everyone, Kim Victoria here. Today's video is a demonstration for beginners in acrylic painting based on my philosophy of seeing things with more clarity. So if you see it, you can paint it. And I'm using the same subjects as I did in my oil painting beginner video. So let's get started. And I have this sped up to 2 times speed. I have a rag, I have a brush, and I have my newsprint pad. I've put a piece of plastic behind my first sheet of newsprint because the water can soak through really fast. I'm using just white and a dark gray acrylic paint. So the first thing I'm looking at when I look at my subject, this object here, and I will try not to say what the name of the object is, because we human beings, we get caught up in the names of things. And you'll hear me saying that quite a bit. And when we think of the name of things, we stop seeing the thing and we start trying to remember what the thing is. It's fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating. Our mind will override what our eyes see. I'm serious, they really do. So, what I am looking at here is shape. I looked at the shape of the object, the overall shape, and I got kind of a base, a mass of gray to illustrate the shape of that object. And then I'm looking at the shape of the other values. Value is light and dark. So I'm looking for the shape of the dark. I'm looking for the shape of the medium tone, kind of that middle gray value, right? And I keep going back and I'm getting more paint. Now, acrylic paint does dry fast, so you will find that you need to keep reloading your brush. But even though it's still pretty wet on there, I don't want to keep spreading paint around. I want to go back and I want to go back and get more paint because the sequence is really simple. I look at the subject and then I go choose some paint, for the area that I'm looking at that I want to work on. I put that brush stroke or two or three down, and then I go back and I look at the subject. I go make another little mixture of paint and get that on the brush. I go back to my painting, and then in between, I'm wiping off the brush so that I get a little bit of a clean mixture, because wiping off the brush is sufficient for going back and getting more mixture. And then so it's that sequence. I look at the subject, I make a decision what kind of paint I want to put on next. I go mix myself what I want to put down. Then I paint a couple of strokes, 2, 3 strokes, not very many, because you want to keep getting more paint. You want to look at those shapes. Do I have the shape right? Do I have the light and dark right? I I'm really, really sincere here. When you start to learn how to paint this way, you will learn so much faster. I've seen it time and time again. And that sheet of paper, it's only a 9 by 12, but you could paint the same apple, and I hope you do, 4 times. You could go to another sheet of paper and paint that same image another 4 times, and you will see yourself improve in that short amount of time. As long as you keep reminding yourself to look at your subject and trust your eyes. That's the biggie. We trust our mind more than we trust our eyes. Fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating. So here is my little sketch, all finished, right? And so now let's go on to the apple and the pear, and we'll continue talking about this. So I'm going to use the same sheet of paper. We can really fill up this sheet of paper. And I'm kind of, when I swing the brush around like that, I'm thinking about, okay, what size are the whole thing? The two objects, what size are they? And what size are they in relationship to each other? How do they connect? What is the aspect of them how do they come together? So, by not doing color, I have less to think about. And I think this is a wonderful way to start, is to give yourself less to think about. You don't want to have too much to think about when you're learning. We want to keep things simple, really, really simple. So what I'm looking at right now is I'm looking for the shape. Again, I'm looking for the shape of the light, and now I'm looking for the shape of the dark a little bit. It's also the shape of the object. I'm seeing the outer edge of the object, and that's what I'm looking at, that outer edge. It's like if you've ever heard of contour drawing, but I'm drawing the outer edge line or shape because I'm looking at the whole shape of that dark. It creates kind of a line. And so I'm looking for the dark shape on these two objects. And I'm finding them. I'm looking for them. I'm finding them. I'm figuring it out. And that's the beauty of an underpainting, regardless of what you're doing, what style or anything like that. But the first thing in any kind of realistic painting is that you need to find your objects. You need to find how they fit in the space and how do they fit with each other and what is their basic shape overall. What is the shape of the light? What is the shape of the dark? So this is probably a little bit different than what you've heard before, but it's a very powerful way of beginning your learning process. You to don't need to learn color mixing straight away first. That I equate that with like when I was in high school taking French, we spent the whole both semesters, conjugating verbs and translating words on paper, and we never spoke. So I came away from a whole year of French classes and I couldn't say a word. And what I want you to be able to do is speak painting. Painting is a visual language, right? What we're doing is we're seeing. And when we keep referring to our subject and asking it questions, do it out loud if you need to, if that helps you. I talk to my subjects all the time when I'm painting. What 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 value is that? What how what shape is that? Where does that connect? How dark is it? How light is it? Talk to yourself, you know? Um yeah, what is the relationship here? It's we've got two objects here, so they're kind of in relationship with each other, and we want it to be a harmonious relationship. We want them to be friendly with each other, and we want them to get along. If that's a fun way for you to remember this, yeah, it's really fun. It's like we want to create a connection between these two objects because when you look at them together, they're one object, you know? Think about it that way. Again, though, give yourself, go back and get more paint, go back and get more paint, go back and get more paint. Do your best to remind yourself to keep looking at your subject and get more paint, get more paint. Don't try to use the brush to move paint around very much. It doesn't matter whether you're doing oil or acrylic. Just keep giving yourself more paint. And keep looking at your subject. Your subject will tell you what it looks like. You've got to stop trusting your mind and trust your eyes. Your eyes will tell you the truth. Your mind will forget. And that I'm sure sounds very, very strange, but I've seen it in too many students where they go onto their piece of paper or their canvas and they stop looking at their subject. And then before you know it, their painting does not look like their subject anymore. I mean, really, it's something that you just have to keep reminding yourself. Look at the subject, look at the subject, look at the subject. Now that's for realistic painting, for realism. And you could see this is really rough. So it's okay for it to be rough. This is a base layer. You know, if you're going to do more, those are top layers. That's refinements. So right now, as a beginner, you want to learn how to do the very simplest aspect. Okay? So trust that. And here is our finished apple and pear with the photo. Screenshot anything that you want to screenshot. Please do that. And then do your own practice and do it a whole bunch of times. Do it at least 4 times. Do it 8 times. Do it more if you can. So I hope you'll join me in another class. So I'll see you then. All right. Have fun. Have fun. Play. Experiment. All right. Enough for now. Bye bye.